Okay, so have you ever judged someone, like right off the bat, only to find out later there's this whole other world going on inside them?
Oh, absolutely. First impressions can be so misleading sometimes.
Exactly. And that's kind of what we're exploring today, looking at these really surprising depths in characters. We're diving into excerpts from Twisted Love by Ana Huang.
Right. And we're also bringing in some perspectives from Mindful Moments.
Yeah, that YouTube channel. They do AI book analysis, which is pretty cool. It gets you thinking critically about characters and, how they relate.
Mm-hmm. So our mission today is really to unpack the key stuff between the main characters, Ava and Alex. What makes them tick, how their connection evolves.
And all the twists and turns because, well, the title is Twisted Love.
Fair point. So right away, that first meeting in the car, it really sets the scene, doesn't it?
It totally does. Ava tries, a bit of small talk, a simple thank you.
And gets met with just silence. Cold silence from Alex.
Yeah. And you immediately see Ava's life. She's juggling work, studies, her photography. It feels very real, very busy.
Compared to Alex, who just screams, well, not literally, but you get the sense of power, the expensive car, that spicy cologne they mentioned.
Right, and just how controlled he is. It's such a stark contrast.
It really is, and it's not just surface level, I think. It points to fundamentally different ways they operate in the world.
For sure. And Ava's internal thought, that sarcastic, what a gentleman, it tells you she's not easily impressed or intimidated.
No, definitely not. And then later, actually calling him an asshole out loud.
Huh? Yes. She's got a spark. Then their friend Josh enters the picture.
The connection. He knows them both, kind of bridges their worlds immediately.
And we see Ava's caring side, too, right? Going out of her way to get Josh that specific dessert before he leaves.
Yeah, that little detail says a lot about her loyalty, her thoughtfulness. It really stands out against Alex's initial vibe.
Totally. Makes you wonder about Alex, what's going on beneath that cold exterior.
Well, that's the thing. While Ava's dealing with everyday stuff and friendships, Alex has apparently been driven by this plan for 16 years.
16 years. Wow.
Seeking vengeance for his family.
Yeah.
It shows this incredible, maybe slightly scary long-term focus, ruthless dedication.
So it's not just coldness, it's purpose, but a dark one.
Exactly. And those little flashes, the creeping sense of doom, remembering blood, you get these hints of some serious trauma fueling it all.
So how does someone like that even connect with people? Or can they?
That's the big question, isn't it? How does that kind of all-consuming drive affect, relationships, vulnerability?
Even so, you see little things, like he is there for Josh's farewell, even if he's just standing there looking intense.
True, there's some connection. And then Ava's friend Jules comes in.
Right, Jules. She brings a bit of lightness, kind of teases Ava about Alex, calling him a jerk like everyone else seems to think.
But then when Jules casually mentions Ava might be in trouble, Alex immediately snaps into this protective mode.
Yeah. But it's still controlling, like, give me her address.
Exactly. It's not warm and fuzzy concern. It's sharp, possessive, almost. But it is concern. Deep down, maybe.
An early clue that his feelings might be more complicated than just annoyance. Maybe something Mindful Moments could dig into how trauma might look like control.
That's an interesting angle. And then, of course, they end up in forced proximity when Alex crashes at Josh's place.
Which always ramps things up in these stories, right? Suddenly they have to interact.
And Ava finds herself, despite everything, kind of drawn to him, even though he's, being a jerk.
That internal conflict is so relatable, though. Being annoyed and attracted at the same time.
Definitely. Then we meet Ralph, Alex's friend, the Krav Maga guy.
Oh, yeah. And Alex thinks, almost casually, that Ava should take self-defense lessons.
Which, again, on the surface is practical, but underneath is a concern. A desire to protect her, even if he doesn't frame it that way.
It feels like it. A subtle layer of care, maybe even subconscious at this point.
And then Ava launches Operation Emotion.
Yes. Starting with disgust. The cookie experiment.
It's pretty funny, but also kind of endearing. It shows her determination to understand him, even if it seems a bit naive.
Totally. She refuses to just write him off as this impenetrable fortress. She wants to see if there's something inside.
It shows her resilience, maybe. And then we get the mention of Liam, the ex.
Right. Adding another layer. Hints of past difficulties, maybe baggage that she's bringing into this dynamic with Alex.
Things definitely escalate at the alumni gala.
Oh, yeah. Alex is there with Madeline, and it just feels superficial. Like it means nothing to him.
Totally transactional, almost. reinforces that maybe his vengeance quest is the only thing with real depth for him, or was.
Because then Colton shows interest in Ava.
And Alex reacts. Possessively, that's a clear signal, isn't it? His feelings are shifting beyond just feeling obligated to Josh.
No question.
Yeah.
And then the coat room scene with Liam.
Whoa, that was intense. Alex doesn't just step in, he gets violent.
Seriously protective. It's a huge moment, showing how much he cares in a way his words, or lack of them, never do.
It really makes you ask, what's driving that level of reaction so early on? It's more than just annoyance at Liam.
And something shifts for Ava, too, after that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those fragmented memories start surfacing.
Yeah, the trauma about the lake incident, it's like the intensity of the night. Maybe Alex's actions kind of unlocked something buried.
Shows how the present can just rip open old wounds you didn't even know were still there.
And then Ava moves on to Operation Emotion, Phase Fear.
Right, and she asks Josh what scares Alex, and Josh is like, nothing.
Pretty much reinforces that image of perfect control. He seems untouchable, impenetrable, such a contrast to Ava.
Who feels everything so strongly. But she's still falling for Alex, despite all the mixed signals and his general scariness.
And you see Alex struggling, too, caught between this lifelong mission and these new, unexpected feelings for Ava.
We all comes to a head around Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Huge revelations.
Massive. Finding out about her real father, about Michael being abusive, just devastating for Ava.
And in that moment of crisis, Alex is just there, protecting her. No hesitation. The walls come down, at least for a bit.
It really shows that genuine connection can maybe start to change even the deepest plans or defenses.
And then Ava says it. Yes, I do. Finally admitting her feelings out loud.
Such a vulnerable moment. But then, the kidnapping. Things go off the rails.
You know, orchestrated by Alex's uncle, Ivan. And the other massive twist.
That Ivan, not Michael, was the one responsible for Alex's family. The target of his 16-year vengeance quest was the wrong man, essentially manipulated by the real killer.
Mind-blowing. And Alex's behavior towards Ava in front of Ivan, seeming so cold again.
But it's an act, right? A desperate gamble to protect her.
Yeah.
Putting her safety above his own revenge, above her understanding him in that moment.
He prioritizes her, even if it looks like the ultimate betrayal to Ava.
Exactly, which leads to the aftermath. Ava's completely heartbroken, feeling used, manipulated, understandably.
Yeah, how do you come back from thinking the person you love engineered so much pain?
It's tough. But even then, Alex is still looking out for her, having her followed for protection, even though she doesn't know it.
So the care is still there, just hidden again, under layers of his own inability to communicate or be emotionally open.
It becomes this really complex situation, her struggling to trust, him struggling to express anything, really.
Until his big gestures, right?
Yeah.
Resigning as CEO to follow her to London.
And buying all her photographs, that's not subtle.
Not at all. It's basically him shouting, "You are my priority now."
Elsie.
Shows how profoundly she changed his entire life path.
And eventually they do find their way back to each other. Reconciliation.
But it acknowledges the challenges, right? It's not a simple happy ending. They have stuff to work through.
Definitely. It highlights that commitment, especially after so much damage and mistrust, takes continuous effort.
So reflecting on all that, we've really seen a journey from judging each other instantly.
Yeah, that initial antagonism.
To this incredibly tangled web of attraction, secrets, revenge plots.
And finally, this really hard-won kind of love and trust built after everything fell apart.
It just shows how complex people and relationships really are. Never simple.
Never simple. And if you want to explore more about these kinds of themes, trust, trauma, how relationships work or break down, definitely check out Mindful Moments and our podcasts.
Yeah, lots of good stuff there. So if this exploration got you thinking, please subscribe. Maybe share it with someone else who loves a story with unexpected layers.
And if you want to read the whole thing yourself, there might be a link to the source material in the show notes.
Most importantly, just keep thinking critically, about people, about the stories we tell, the complexities of why we do what we do. It's fascinating stuff.